Did you know that 75% of people fear public speaking more than death? That's right. Most would rather face a grave situation than stand in front of an audience. But what if I told you that some speakers not only conquer this fear, but also captivate their audiences effortlessly? Charismatic speakers have a unique ability to grab attention and hold it. They create a connection that leaves people inspired and eager for more. Studies show that listeners retain 70% of what they hear when a speaker engages them well. That's a lot of information slipping away if you don't know how to connect. In this video, we'll explore powerful strategies that can transform anyone into a great speaker. You'll learn how to harness the power of storytelling, master the art of silence, and use body language to command a room. Plus, we'll uncover how voice modulation and audience engagement can keep listeners on the edge of their seats. So, if you're ready to step out of your comfort zone and become a speaker who truly resonates, stay tuned. You'll discover not just the how, but also the why behind the techniques that charismatic speakers use to win hearts and minds. Let's dive in and unlock your potential as a captivating speaker. Chapter 1. The Power of Storytelling. Turning boring into brilliant. Let's face it, stories have been captivating people for thousands of years. From campfires to TED Talks, the best speakers know how to tell a story that sticks. But here's the kicker. Your story doesn't need to be dramatic or life-changing. It just needs to be relatable. A Princeton study found that when someone tells a story, the listener's brain activity mirrors the storyteller's. That means a good story literally gets your audience on the same wavelength. Now, instead of focusing on big, flashy anecdotes, aim for the unexpected metaphors and surprising details. Think of it like this. The more personal and vivid, the more memorable. Simon Sinek, in his famous book Start With Why, says, "People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it." This means that when you tell a story, anchor it to a deeper purpose. Make your audience see the why behind it, not just the what. And when in doubt, tap into emotions. People are 22 times more likely to remember a fact if it's wrapped in a story. For example, instead of saying, "Public speaking is hard," tell a quick story about how you felt your heart race before your first big talk. Emotion builds connection, and connections keep audiences hooked. Chapter 2. Silence speaks louder. Mastering the dramatic pause. Most people think public speaking is all about what you say. But here's a secret. It's often about what you don't say. Silence, when used correctly, can be more powerful than words. Research shows that our brains crave pauses. They help us process what's been said, and they create anticipation for what's coming next. According to Dr. Nick Morgan, a communications expert, a well-placed pause can be worth more than 100 words. Think about it. In a world where people rush to fill every second with noise, a pause stands out. It forces the audience to lean in. Consider Steve Jobs. His iconic pauses before revealing new Apple products weren't just for effect. They built excitement. The audience wasn't just listening, they were waiting. But don't just pause randomly. Use pauses strategically after key points or right before revealing something important. It's like telling your audience, "Hold on, this is going to be good." Pro tip: a 3-second pause after a powerful statement lets your audience reflect, absorb, and remember. Also, practice making your pauses feel natural. They shouldn't feel awkward. The best speakers make silence feel intentional, not accidental. Let the pause create space for your words to breathe. Chapter 3. Body Language Alchemy. Commanding the room without saying a word. Here's a fun fact. 55% of communication is body language, according to research by psychologist Albert Mehrabian. That means over half of what your audience takes away from your speech doesn't come from your words, but from how you physically present yourself. Charismatic speakers understand this deeply. They don't just speak, they perform. Your body can either enhance or weaken your message. One easy win is making sure your gestures match your words. For example, if you're talking about big ideas, show it with your hands. Don't keep them in your pockets. Research from the University of Chicago shows that using hand gestures can improve your audience's retention of information. In fact, speakers who use hand gestures are seen as more passionate and credible. Eye contact is another simple but crucial move. A speaker who makes eye contact builds trust. The trick? Don't just focus on one person. Sweep the room. Make brief eye contact with different parts of the audience. It creates a sense of connection, making each person feel like you're speaking directly to them. And don't forget about your stance. Stand tall, plant your feet firmly, and own the space. Avoid crossing your arms or pacing nervously. Confident body language tells your audience, "I've got this," even when you're nervous. Research published in Social Psychological and Personality Science found that adopting powerful postures can reduce stress hormones, helping you feel and look more confident. If you're unsure about what your body language says, practice in front of a mirror or record yourself. Charismatic speakers are aware of every detail, from how they move to how they pause between words. It's the nonverbal cues that often speak the loudest. If you're enjoying these insights, make sure to subscribe for more tips on becoming a great speaker. Chapter 4. Voice Modulation Magic. Make every word hit home. Your voice is like an instrument, and mastering it can turn a good talk into an unforgettable experience. Charismatic speakers use vocal variety to grab attention. They don't stick to one tone. Instead, they use pitch, volume, and pace to create rhythm in their speeches. Why does this matter? Well, studies show that people lose focus after just 10 minutes of listening. Changing up your voice can bring them back in. Think of Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous "I Have a Dream" speech. He didn't just say the words. He emphasized them with his voice, rising and falling in intensity. That's what made the speech so powerful. It wasn't just what he said, but how he said it. Charismatic speakers know this well. They stress important words and soften their voice when they want to draw their audience in. If you want to try this, practice raising your voice for moments of excitement or urgency. Then slow down and lower your tone to create tension or focus on an important point. A 2015 study in the Journal of Voice found that listeners are more engaged when speakers use a varied vocal tone. Also, don't be afraid to play with pace. Speeding up your speech during exciting parts can build energy. Slowing down when you want to highlight something crucial gives it weight. It's all about keeping your audience on their toes. They shouldn't know what's coming next in terms of your delivery, which keeps them hooked. Voice training isn't just for singers. If you want to project confidence, work on your breath control. Deep breathing helps keep your voice steady and strong. So, before stepping on stage, take a few deep breaths to relax and center yourself. Remember, the best speakers don't rush. They control the room with the tempo of their words. Chapter 5. Audience. Jedi. Tuning into their energy and using it. Great speakers don't just talk at their audience. They engage with them. The most charismatic speakers have a unique ability to read the room and adjust their approach based on the energy in the room. They're like Jedi, sensing the emotions and reactions of the crowd and using it to their advantage. One of the best strategies for this is scanning the audience. While speaking, observe people's body language. Are they nodding, smiling, or leaning in? These are good signs. They're engaged. But if you see people checking their phones or looking restless, it's a cue to shift gears. Maybe ask a question or crack a quick joke to bring them back. Tony Robbins is known for his high-energy talks, and he once said, "The way to create an audience that's awake is to be awake yourself." This means you need to adjust your energy depending on how the audience is reacting. If they're quiet, you might want to amp up your energy. If they're too rowdy, bring it down and regain control. Also, ask rhetorical questions to get the audience thinking. Even though they don't answer out loud, it forces them to engage mentally. This simple technique pulls them into the conversation rather than leaving them as passive listeners. And don't be afraid to call out the elephant in the room. If you feel the energy dipping, say something like, "I can sense things are getting quiet. Let's shake it up." It shows that you're aware and tuned in. Another effective strategy is incorporating audience interaction. This could be asking them to raise their hands, shout out answers, or even just nod in agreement. These micro-interactions make people feel involved, and involved audiences are more likely to stay engaged. By mastering these techniques, you can elevate your speaking game and truly captivate your audience. From storytelling to voice modulation, each chapter offers practical tips to help you become a charismatic speaker. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks on mastering the art of public speaking.